All right, Dee, I finally dragged you into this.
Yes, you did. And without any notice, hence why nobody is seeing me.
This is one of those cases that I can't get enough of. It feels like it's ripped right out of a true crime series, but it's real this time and it's still unfolding. We are talking about the Tepe murders in Columbus, Ohio, your home state.
My old stomping ground.
We're going to talk about it from start to finish because I've been following every little detail. So channel surfers, if you are just starting out hearing about the Tepe murders, or if you can't hear enough and you want to hear an attorney and paralegal break down all of their thoughts, well, and Dee, learn it as she goes.
Yes.
Come join us. Let's watch.
Remote reality, yeah, that's the key. Unlocking stories wild and free. With the host, side by side. Channel surfers, let's ride.
Hey, channel surfers, welcome to Remote Reality. I'm Lauren, your attorney, host, and friend who loves to overanalyze everything, including my favorite reality TV shows. If you are a channel surfer, you know that we cover Sister Wives, 90 Day the Other Way, and Traitors right now. Please share this with anybody you know that likes 90 Day Fiancé, Sister Wives, The Traitors. Sometimes we do true crime. I've completely been obsessed with this Tepe murder case.
Mm-hmm.
I sent you a few links about it. I don't think you've looked at any of them.
I haven't. I kind of peeked at one of them. I just haven't really had any time.
I understand. I'll do an episode where I get you caught up on it.
What?
Anyway, make sure you like and subscribe, share with a friend. And with that, let's dive right into this. I've been talking in our podcast about how enthralled I am with this Tepe murder case. Some of you know that I've done criminal defense before. We've talked about cases like Koberger and Diddy. I just can't stop thinking about this case. And I cannot believe that Dee, my co-host, doesn't know anything about it. So today I said, Dee, we are going to talk about this case. You need to know what's going on because I need somebody to talk to it. And this is her home state.
My old stomping grounds. Yes, I'm Dee, Lauren's paralegal, and very reluctant today sidekick, as you can tell, because I am not on the screen. I was not having it at all today.
I told Dee, I don't even know if we're going to post this. Let's just talk about it. Let me take it from start to finish, take you through this case. I don't know. We talk about something mediocre. We'll post it. The channel surfers may want to hear my side as an attorney who's done criminal defense. Now, one of the things, as far as my side, the reason I haven't been making a bunch of posts about this, right now, what I'm seeing with coverage, it's all so speculative. They just arrested a suspect just like a week ago. There's a lot of questions as to what is the motive and why. The reason it took 11 days to arrest a suspect, that's actually the police doing things the right way, in my opinion. You don't want to give too much information to the public when you're trying to develop a case. The law is not like Google, where you get an immediate answer. You have to build a case. Once you bring those charges in a criminal case, you have to prove a probable cause, which is an extremely low standard. Then the time starts ticking. The defendant has a right to a speedy trial. So you need to have a case to bring forward. You need to make sure you're connecting the dots. You're not getting tunnel vision. Any missteps just give defense attorneys an opportunity to poke holes in the case. 11 days, that wasn't bad for them to get a suspect. Anyway, I digress. You already see my attorney brain firing off. We need to start from the beginning. Dee doesn't know anything about this case. This one's heavy. We've got two parents found murdered on January 30th in their home with their two young children in the home. Their 1-year-old and their 4-year-old.
That's so sad.
It's so sad. And these people, Spencer and Monique Tepe, they were loved. They seem very social. Their wedding video was posted 5 years ago. They seem very happy. They're a beautiful couple. The question was who, why, and even how, because there was no sign of a forced entry into the house. Now, the first thing that caught my attention about this case were the 911 calls. Like, they lived in Columbus and Dr. Tepe's dental office was in Athens.
That's a pretty good distance from Columbus.
Yeah. Like you said, it's in southern Ohio.
Columbus is about central Ohio, so I would say it's a good hour, hour and a half.
And actually, I have the map right here on the screen. So yeah, about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and 35 minutes. I want to say I heard, and I'm not sure where, but some other coverage saying that maybe he went to a second dental office that was north of Columbus. Maybe this was the middle grounds. I know a lot of people are speculating as to why he lived there.
Maybe it was a satellite office. It's a college town, too.
That would make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and Columbus I don't remember where I heard that because I've been listening to so much coverage, but to me, that made sense if you're living in the center in between.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, when we were in Fort Mill, right outside of Charlotte, Dee and I was driving either to Columbia, South Carolina or Spartanburg, South Carolina for court, which that was an hour, hour and a half each way because the bankruptcy courts, when I was doing bankruptcy, there were only 3 of them. And when I was doing criminal, I was still driving 45 minutes out to the Moss Justice Center in York County. So
yeah, I don't think it's
got to take a little trip.
Yeah, and I don't think it's unusual for doctors or dentists and stuff to have offices that they go to in other areas, maybe like once or twice a week.
So Spencer Tepe, he's 37 years old. He's a dentist. Monique Tepe is his wife. She is 39 years old. And what started this case, what first caught my attention were the 911 calls. So let's listen to those. There were 4 911 calls on the morning of December 3rd. Spencer Tepe had dental patients, and he usually got to the office around 8 a.m. But by the time he was supposed to be there for his dental appointments with his patients, he didn't show up. Which, do you get this? Even with me as an attorney, if I'm MIA for a meeting, what's your reaction going to be if you can't get in touch with me and I don't show up for a consult?
I would probably try your husband first, honestly.
And if you couldn't get in touch with him?
I would probably go through a process of reaching out to friends that I knew before, like the police. A 911 call would not be the first thing I thought of for a wellness check.
You would be concerned, though.
Yes, I would be concerned.
Which, completely different. If it's a day that we don't have clients and you don't hear from me,
no big deal. But if we've got clients and I know that you're going to be there to talk to them and you're not showing up and I can't get a hold of you, I am going to be concerned. I am going to be calling around.
And I think that's exactly how the people at his dental office felt. But with that, let's go ahead and listen to the first 911 call. Here we go.
Columbus Police, Tech 107.
Yes, I would like to ask for a wellness check on an individual at their home. This individual, Spencer, works with me, and he did not show up to work this morning, and we cannot get a hold of him or his family.
He didn't show up to work?
Correct.
Okay. Does he have medical problems or?
No, and he's been reliable, and we cannot get in touch with him, his wife, his family, anybody that lives in that house.
Okay. So
His
you're
2 kids in the home. I'm in Florida. I own the business. I was informed by my employees that he was not at work.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording right there. On Truth and Transparency's YouTube channel, she said what she thought was happening here was that the office had called the boss who was vacationing in Florida and then 3-way called 911 into the call. So she thought that the 911 operator at that point was looking at the location of the call, saw that it was coming from Athens, Ohio. And that's why the 911 operator was saying, wait a minute, you're in Florida? Trying to figure out why a call from Athens was coming from Florida.
True.
So that kind of makes sense. Just thought I would throw in all the little bits and pieces I'm gathering online. What do you think of that, Dee? Sometimes people just don't show up to work.
Yeah, I don't think that her job requires that kind of attitude. Seriously, she's a 911 operator. I mean, have some compassion and understanding because, whoever's on the other end of the line is upset about something or concerned about
Absolutely.
something.
I think that the 911 operator didn't feel like showing up to work that day. Let's be honest.
Maybe she shouldn't have showed up for work that day.
Good point. Well, sometimes people don't. Take a page out of your book, operator. But then again, it's 9:00 in the morning and somebody is not at work. She also might be like, cool your tits. They're fine. She also doesn't realize this is a dentist who is missing patients. It could be the guy didn't deliver the newspaper.
Well, she could think all she wants. She doesn't need to say something like that, though.
I wonder, too. Maybe that's a call they get a lot. I don't know if there was snow that day or, well, she didn't say anything about snow.
Maybe he's sick, I don't know.
Just know that he is he is always on time, and he would contact us if there's any issues whatsoever. And I just don't know how else to say this. We're very, very concerned because this is very out of character. And we can't get in touch with his wife, which is probably the more concerning thing.
Okay, what's the emergency there?
Okay, so that was the first 911 call. We were starting into the second one about an hour later. But some people were suspecting that the boss from his work was involved based on that. I didn't think there was anything suspicious about it.
I mean, he could have been friends with him as well. And, you do know these people's character. So at a certain point, yeah, everybody's getting concerned. We can't reach this person. They travel a long distance to come to work.
Right.
You're right.
About the car accident.
It's the end of January. So there's possibility there's some bad weather and
nobody
hears anything.
Okay. So the second 911 call.
Or police or medical?
Maybe both, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of doing the
We
wellness.
had a call out there. They knocked on the front door and back door multiple times, and there was no answer.
Yeah, no answer. I can hear kids inside, and I swear I think I heard one yell, but we can't get in. At this point, I don't know if I need to break the door in or just get in the house or...
I love that part. But the second caller doesn't announce himself. The 911 operator just jumps right into, all right, we already had a call out there.
Mm-hmm.
What's the problem? And he's like, all right, there are kids screaming inside. Do I need to break the door down?
Wow. Yeah.
Absolutely. Does that help with the crime scene? The fact that the police, who knows where they've been, and now you've got someone calling that's like, I'm about to bust into this house because there are kids inside. I'm glad you came out for the wellness check. Is that going to help with the crime scene? No,
but I mean, it needs to be done. If they can hear the
Absolutely.
kids and they're not getting any response to the door, I would think I would think something's definitely wrong. I probably need to break into this house.
As you should. And had the police done their job and come out and done the wellness check, you would think they would also hear the kids screaming and go into the house. And we will get to that part later. And at least at that point, it would have been police. So if a job would have been done the right way, then you would have a more solid case.
Mm-hmm.
Could this be something that we see in the trial that comes up? Whatever you found at the crime scene wasn't me. It was the other person who got there before the police came in. Now, absolutely, this person should be going in to help these children. I agree 100%. It's what I would do as well. But do I see an opportunity for a defense attorney to jump in and argue, you're saying my client did this, but there were also people inside that house before the police got there? Yes. And that's why it's important that police, 911 dispatchers, they cross their T's and dot their I's.
What?
Okay, were you out there when the police was out there?
I wasn't. I just got here about 5 minutes ago.
Okay, all right, well, we'll send them back out to you.
So remember that call was about an hour later,
Mm-hmm.
and she said, we'll send them back out to you. That guy just arrived about 5 minutes ago. So an hour after the first call. It makes me wonder if that's somebody that was driving down from the dental office, had a little bit of a lead foot,
Mm-hmm.
some urgency to get there and make sure things were okay. All right, here is the third 911 call.
Our boss did not report to work. We haven't been able to get a hold of him for 3 hours.
Okay, so this one is at 9:58. She says her boss didn't report to work. We haven't been able to get a hold from him for about 3 hours. So 9, 8, 7, 6:58, right before 7.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like that's maybe when they started reaching out, when they expected him to arrive at the dental office around 8. Also, this call is coming in right on the back of the last call, just a few minutes later.
We are on site and we can hear. Okay, I just talked to somebody there. Okay, I'm just making sure somebody called.
Okay, so that was the third call.
That also
And
sounded like someone from the dental office that had driven there.
it was. And actually, they didn't play that whole 911 call, but you do hear her saying that she is on her way to the location. At first, it sounds like she's at the location, but then she says she's on her way to the location. So then we have another call 5 minutes later, 10:03.
911, what's location of your emergency?
1411 North 4th.
Okay, 1411 North 4th. We've got several calls on that. What's changed since the last person I talked to?
There's a body.
All right. D, immediate thoughts.
The 911 operator, like, what's changed since the last time we talked to someone? Well, how does she know that she's talking to the same person? There's several different people that are calling. What a shitty attitude.
Which is what got me invested in this in the first place. There's a body. This was serious. And I don't know, you're sitting there with your thumb in your ass the whole time.
Whoever it is needs to be fired.
So yeah, there has been a change in the last 5 minutes. We finally got into the house for the wellness check that the police haven't showed up to do, or allegedly they have, and they're on their way back. And we have a body. What else has changed? Let's find out.
There's a body inside?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me get you on the line with the medic, okay? Stay on the line.
Do you hear the kids crying in the background?
Yes.
Had they showed up for that first check, the kids would have been out of there by then.
Mm-hmm.
But the sound of the children, I'm thinking this guy has gone into the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like it.
Understandably. If you look at the house, we can kind of see it from the side here on Google Maps. Let me share here. So it's this house right here, this second house. Unless you're like standing up on one of these little slanted roof parts on the first part, or you're looking in through the neighbor's window where you're probably not going to hear the kids, you're not going to be able to see into the second story, which is where they found Spencer and Monique Tepe, on the second story in the bedroom. And the Google Maps is only half updated. If you start going down the street, you see the neighborhood before it was revitalized. Then when you come over here, you can see they've built these new homes. Okay, let's go back to the 911 call. So we heard the children. He says there's a body now.
There's a body. Our friend wasn't answering his phone. We just took a wellness check. We just came here, and he appears dead. Okay. There's blood. He's laying next to his bed, off of his bed, and there's blood. I can't get closer to see more than that. Okay, you can tell he's not breathing or anything? Yeah. Is it like kind of like, you know, does he look like... It doesn't look I can't look. Okay, all right, understand. Okay, and then when was the last time somebody spoke to him?
So the 911 operator asks him if there's puddles of blood. Sometimes the 911 operators, they'll ask questions just to keep you on the phone, also to keep your mind processing through a situation.
Yeah, that
I
makes
don't
sense.
know that is their puddled blood going to help with any life-saving measures. I'm not in the medical profession, obviously. I just wonder if at this point he's trying to keep the person talking to maybe keep from going in shock.
Well, I thought that asking that question might let them know how long they had been laying there. Like if the blood has gotten heavy and stuff, it might indicate if there's resuscitative measures that can be done or not.
Right. I have no idea. Now, you did a little bit of nursing school.
Not enough.
Yesterday, I suppose.
Yesterday? Okay.
Yeah.
How old is he?
37.
37, okay. Is he like a drug user or anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right. Just that's a really young age.
Yeah, I understand.
Is he a drug user? I'm not personally aware of any drugs that would cause puddles of bleeding.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. Would not think it would lead to a question like that.
He's pretty young, but he just told you he's laying off the side of his bed in a puddle of blood. I don't know what these people are thinking. I don't know.
I'm embarrassed right now that they're in Ohio.
I'm embarrassed for you.
Okay. All right. We're on our way.
Okay. So those are the 911 calls. So I've been following this case from the beginning, and those 911 calls are part of what drew me into it. That the fact that there's no forced entry, the 911 operators' callousness made me want to know more. Like, what if they had responded in time? So this is what we know at the beginning, that Spencer Tepe had been shot multiple times and Monique Tepe had one shot to the chest. Spencer and Monique were married in 2020. Their house was the location for their wedding. You can see YouTube videos of them getting married at the house that they were murdered in. So that's available online for other people to see. And that there were 2 children, ages 1 and 4, found in the house, which I have a 4-year-old son. So
I can't imagine. That's just horrible for those children.
Exactly. So the first things that my attorney brain starts analyzing, multiple gunshot versus one gunshot. And we know that Monique was found in bed. Spencer was found beside his bed. So a couple of different things. This could be somebody that is angry with Spencer. So there are multiple shots fired out of rage. It could be that Spencer was getting up out of bed. So they fired multiple shots to stop him. The one shot from Monique makes me wonder if she was the first victim.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking maybe she was shot first. It woke him up. He started to get out of bed and they went to stop him from getting it up any further.
There were also reports that either the perpetrator locked the bedroom door or locked the children into a bedroom so that they wouldn't be able to come and find their parent. And there was also a dog named Larry, a golden doodle, who was found in the room with the children, which, having a 4-year-old, at least there's that they didn't stumble upon their parents.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't know about you. I had 2 children. They didn't sleep in the same room. So did one of them wake up and did the perpetrator take that child into the other one's room with the dog? I mean, the odds that the kids are sleeping in the same room in that size of house is very slim. So did the kids wake up or one of them wake up?
And it's not clear, at least from what I've seen, whether the room was locked where Spencer and Monique were killed or whether the children were all locked in a room with the dog. On one hand, if the bedroom where they were murdered was locked, then the friend would have had to break down that door to find the crime scene. On the other hand, if the children were all in one room, I guess that prevents them from roaming around the house and getting hurt, turning on a stove. Playing with knives.
All of the things kids can do that are 4.
Oh, yeah. My friend's 4-year-old got a steak knife the other day to cut open a bag of cookie mix. So, but it also raises the question, who is this person who wants to protect the children and
well, it would also
orphans at the same time?
Right. And it would also, in my mind anyway, kind of take me away from the whole rage idea.
What does that mean from a murder standpoint?
Probably premeditation.
It's not done in the blink of an eye. It's not done in the heat of the moment. This was planned. So
Yeah.
who would do it? Now, to understand what we have at stake, you start digging into the lives of the victims. And what I heard from the very beginning, Spencer Tepe had never been married before. This is his first marriage. Monique had a prior marriage. It was back in 2015 to a vascular surgeon named Michael McKee. And that was a very short marriage. They were divorced in 2017 on the grounds of incompatibility. There were no children to the marriage. And I'm going to get more into that in a few minutes because the reporting I'm hearing about incompatibility definitely is not coming from a lawyer's perspective. So we'll jump into the law part of that. But it was basically what we would call an uncontested divorce. They left with their own assets. Earlier reporting said that in the divorce, Monique did say she paid about $2,500 for her engagement ring and $3,000 for her wedding ring. She left the marriage with, I think, a little over $1,000 in marital debt to pay back. And they had bought a house together, but she let him have the house, maintain payments on it. Short marriage. Now, I cannot find this, but I swear early on, I saw somebody reporting that Michael McKee had been married a second time to a guy that owned a cleaning business, and it happened shortly after the first marriage. That has apparently been scrubbed from the internet, and there's no documentation I can find to back that up. But when I first heard that, I was thinking, oh, well, maybe it was, a green card marriage, something like that. But apparently it was just bad reporting. But I just wanted to mention that because kind of walking through start to finish where my mind was, I was like, okay, nothing to see here. All right. After a little bit of time, some other things get released. Do I want to start with the 911 calls or the person of interest? Dee, tell me what you want to hear first.
Well, we've already covered some 911 calls, so I think we should start there.
Okay, so we're going to start with 911 calls published as we're looking for the question of who could have done this. This 911 call was 9 months before the murders. You hear a woman's voice calling at night. Now, I came across this video because I'm in a Facebook group and somebody in the group posted that the 911 operator is actually her fiance, and there had been a 911 call and hang up. So he called back to check, see what was going on. And I have to say, I'm not going to say whose fiance this is, but he did an amazing job. Columbus dispatchers, take note. This is how it should be done. Let's listen.
Hello?
Hi, this is 911. We just got a hang-up call. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm okay. Sorry.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're crying. Do you need police, paramedics, or anything?
No, I'm okay. I promise. I'm just emotional. I'm okay. I don't need nothing.
Well, can I ask what had you call 911 in the first place? Like, were you having an argument with somebody?
Me and my man got into it, but I'm okay. I promise.
Did anything ever get physical?
No.
You guys were just arguing, nobody hit each other?
Yes.
Okay. All right, man. Well, I have the information here. I can go ahead and tell the officers to cancel hitting over to your address there.
Yes.
If anything changes, call us back.
Okay, so what are your thoughts?
It sounded like there was definitely some kind of distress there. Possibly, I don't know, it could be because they were crying, but it also kind of sounded like their words were a little slurred.
I was going to say this person sounds a little bit intoxicated potentially to me.
Yeah. I thought that the voice sounded a little slurred.
I agree. This call was made in the early hours in the morning. Family members have confirmed this is not Monique's voice, so maybe it was coming from outside of her house. Maybe somebody got upset and went for a walk to cool off. What did you think about the 911 dispatcher's handling of this?
Well, I think he handled it very professionally.
Absolutely. I've heard some people criticize his handling of this, saying that they should have sent police out anyway.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's talking to the person and, they're saying everything's fine. They don't need to send anybody. I mean, he gave her opportunities with the way that he worded stuff to give a yes or no answer without having to go any further.
I agree.
If she wanted someone else to not know that she was talking to 911, she definitely could have answered and yes.
And this 911 call, I don't think is going to have anything to do with what happened there. At first, there was speculation that this was Monique calling about Spencer, but even with that, first of all, it's confirmed that it's not, but there was no gun found at the crime scene. So murder-suicide is out the door, unless, I don't know, what do people think, that this was pre-planned?
Well, I mean, even murder-suicide, I mean, he was shot multiple times.
Right. So this, to me, doesn't have anything to do with what happened here. Interesting, the location that it came from. Apparently, though, there's some bars kind of close by to this. This isn't far from Ohio State's campus. So,
well, that was another thing that I was going to say. The person sounded a lot younger.
Yes. I even heard someone say, people don't accidentally call 911. Funny story, channel surfers. One time in a McDonald's drive-thru, waiting on chicken nuggets, my dog Teddy got his big, fluffy, furry paws onto the center console in the front seat and hit that button on the iPhone several times, which dials 911. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oops, Teddy, what are you doing?" And 911 calls back. And my husband and I are like laughing. We're like, "We are so sorry. I'm not even kidding you. We are in the McDonald's drive-thru. Our dog just called 911. Apparently not having his chicken nugget shed is an emergency. We are working on getting that taken care of for him. There is no emergency here."
Oh my God.
911, it's an emergency. I don't have the chicken nugget yet. That is why Teddy called 911. But yeah, that was totally an accident because with iPhone, if you hit that button a certain number of times, it calls 911 for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also possible too if this was a person who was walking and they got scared by something, they may have dialed it really quick and then realized, oh, I didn't need to call 911. That was just a dog or a cat or something, I don't know.
Or they could have been holding the phone and hitting the button out of frustration, not realizing that it accidentally dials 911. So yeah, I thought that one was handled fine. I don't think that has anything to do with this. But let's turn to the second 911 call that happened before the murders. And this one came from a neighbor. 11 days before the murder. This is in the early hours in the morning. And here is the 911 call.
911, what's the location of your emergency? Is there an apartment letter number?
No.
What's the emergency?
Somebody's knocking on my door. I think they're trying to get in and bring in my door.
Someone's banging the knock. Do you know who this is?
No. I'm scared.
Do you have a description of them?
No, I can't see anything upstairs.
Have you asked them what they want or if they need something?
No.
I'm going to stop it right there. Dee, what are your thoughts on this 911 call so far?
Well, it's hard for me to understand what they're saying, honestly, and I can't read the screen because of my eyes to know what they're saying.
So this person is calling. There is somebody banging on their door in the early hours of the morning. This is one of Monique and Spencer Tepe's neighbors. The 911 call operator asks, "Can you see who it is?" And they're like, "No, I can't see from upstairs." And then says, "Well, have you asked them why they're knocking?"
Yeah, like I'm going to do that.
Excuse me, ma'am. It is like 2 a.m. You want me to go ask this person why they're knocking?
No.
You think they're selling Girl Scout cookies?
Jeez.
This person sounds terrified. They're whispering. I don't think they want anyone to know that they're home. Maybe you just send the police out to check in and see why someone's banging on a door at 2 a.m.
They're terrified, and they're also very polite, because if an operator had said that to me, I'd have been like, are you fucking crazy? You want me to go and ask them what they want if I can help them? Then they're trying to break into my house?
Can I help you break in?
Jeez.
You want to know what they want?
Unbelievable.
I promise you it's not good. And yeah, I would probably be a smartass too. But if I'm scared and don't want this person to hear me, I would know my voice would get raised if I started into that. So, rock in a hard place really shouldn't be. Should just be the police showing up.
What's your name? There's your phone number, and then... All right, I've got to send up for someone banging and knocking on the door. If anything escalates or changes, give us a call back and let us know. We'll get officers there as soon as we can.
I've got to sign up for someone banging and knocking on the door. If anything changes, let us know. Like, if they actually get into the house.
Wow. You know what? I mean, so far, some of these dispatchers, they just sound like drive-through order takers, like at a restaurant or something.
Not offend. There are a lot of very competent people who do that job.
I used to do that job, take orders at restaurants. I mean, that's the way they sound.
They're taking it as seriously as, like, if I mess up, you accidentally got a regular Coke instead of a Diet Coke, which for me is a type 1 diabetic. Yeah, that would be dangerous, but it wouldn't be dangerous like somebody knocking on your door at 2 a.m.
Yeah, if you'd like to add anything to that order, please let us know. You know, I mean, that's the way I feel.
So let's talk about how this could fit in. As a defense attorney, we have somebody 11 days prior knocking on a door at 2 a.m., somebody unknown, a scared caller. How do we not know whether somebody is canvassing this area, whether maybe the perpetrator isn't somebody they know? Maybe it's somebody just looking for an easy entry.
Well, I mean, I definitely can see a defense attorney using this call, being a neighbor of theirs, and say, look, 11 days before this murder, someone was trying to get into the neighbor's house.
Assuming that this isn't the suspect. We haven't gotten to who the suspect is.
Right.
So let's go. We have the suspect videotape, but we also have the body cam from where the police officers that morning showed up for the wellness check. Let's go to the body cam first for the wellness check.
Okay.
We are going to just play the portion of the body cam footage. This is the morning of the 30th. Calls have come in requesting a wellness check. Here's the officer doing the wellness check.
Unit 43.
Okay, Dee, any initial observations here?
The whistling is cracking me up. I'm like, is this a Disney movie or what?
It's like Snow White whistling to the animals.
Yeah.
Or Cinderella was whistling to the birds. Any other observations?
He went to the house across the street, it looks like.
Yeah, this is the right house.
It's definitely not the right house.
This is the White House. It's not the gray Tepe house.
30A 980 King, apartment 8. Genevieve.
Got it.
Okay. Just to pause it. Another thing that I kind of heard right off the bat was the police code 43. That usually means that they're having a chase or they're in pursuit.
Oh, that's interesting.
Or it can just be something to highlight an urgent situation that needs attention. So this isn't this police officer, but something's going on where there's a chase, there's a pursuit, or there's something that needs urgent attention. Could be somebody running away from a crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe committing some other crimes. Who knows?
Anybody home? Anybody home?
So the officer is standing between the houses at the edge of the gate screaming, anybody home?
I think that he would say, that he's an officer and doing a wellness check or something to the effect of at least letting people know that he's an officer.
Identify himself as an officer.
Yes.
What a great observation. If I'm laying in bed and somebody is knocking on my door and screaming, anybody home? Heck no, I'm going right back to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm not coming down for you to sell me solar panels.
Mm-mm.
By the way, this isn't across the street. This is actually a totally different street.
Okay, I thought it was the same street, but it's across the street. But yeah, you're right. I just
totally
noticed.
different street, but nearby.
I just noticed it's not even across the street as he turned around.
Apparently, this is on Summit Street, not 4th Street.
Bert. Anybody home? There we go.
All right, so the officer finally gets into the back gate, kind of peeking through some windows.
Anybody home?
There's a grill outside, but nobody's barbecuing. They're knocking on the back door. You know what? These people are probably at work.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. What is that song?
I don't know. It's catchy, isn't it?
It's definitely a song. It's like he's repeating the same part of this song, and I can't think of it.
It was the old college try.
He said, well, we gave it the old college try, right? Yeah, if you were drunk and studying for the wrong exam. Okay, so that was it for that body cam. All right, so makes you wonder what would have happened if they showed up at the right place an hour before.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get on to person of interest. So 6 days after the murders, a person of interest video is released by the police. It shows an individual walking in an alley. It looks like behind the Tepe residence. They have those detached garages where you have a road in the back where you drive down to park. So that's where this video comes from. Let's take a look. It is from the city of Columbus Division of Police, and they put out this video of a person of interest in the Tepe case. Again, this was 6 days after it happened, and they were asking for public feedback. Before that, we weren't hearing much, which to me says they know something and they're looking at something. They have leads that they are following. They don't need the community to find that lead for them. But here's that person of interest video. So we see a guy walking in a back alley. He has on khaki pants, a black hooded shirt, black shoes. What observations do you have from this video, Dee?
I mean, he definitely doesn't want you to see his face. I mean, his hat's pretty far down.
I agree. Some people noted that he was walking, they said, pigeon-toed.
Yeah, but it also looked like he might have been walking on like ice. So it's really Was there ice in that alley?
There is. There's a lot of snow and ice, and we can watch it again. Yeah, I see what you're saying. And you can see the snow here in the background.
Right. So, I mean, it might be hard to tell what a person's strides are when they're walking in ice like that because you're trying to keep from falling.
Now, he is, pulling his hood down, but it also, there's snow and ice. It could be kind of cold.
Mm-hmm.
The police have done a recent date. Actually, it's probably this right here, the January 14th, 2026 update. And yeah, that was yesterday. They said that the person of interest in the video, they do believe is a suspect. They didn't say much other than that.
Sure.
Okay. So, D, at this point in the story, this is where I was January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts? Who could have done that?
Well, I feel like it's somebody that may know them since they're both dead. And the way that they were killed makes me think it was planned.
No forced entry.
Right.
Which makes you think it's somebody that knows them.
I think you're right with the police. It's a neighborhood, so there's probably a lot of doorbell cams and stuff like that where they can gather video of the home and the street the night before. So
absolutely. And one YouTuber, Truth and Transparency, she actually lives in Columbus. She went and marked down all of the places that had doorbell cams and gave that to police. Like, hey, check all these places. I walked by and looked and I saw the cams, which might be helpful. But I think the police are still going to go through and double check over everything. Because what if that's the suspect and they don't want you to know about a certain cam? So, the police, they're going to go through and double check everything. But I think that was very kind for the public to reach out. I know Columbus is understandably concerned. At this point, there's no
rhyme or reason. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it either.
At this point, I'm thinking, could it be a business dispute? We don't know their lives. Could there be an affair? Although, you just never know.
No, especially with the 911 call from the neighbor like 11 days before this.
Could it be an intruder?
Yes.
But an intruder that cares about kids and a dog.
Right.
Do these people leave their door unlocked? Maybe, maybe not.
Wouldn't think so, not in Columbus.
But they could also just be very trustworthy, be optimistic people who do. So you never know. And at this point, the police are thinking the crime happened sometime between 2 and 5 a.m. So that's what we know leading into the arrest. Are you ready?
Hit me with it.
5 days ago, police make an arrest in the Tepe case. January 10th, 2025, in Winnebago County, Illinois. This man is arrested.
Who is he? Is he anybody related to them or anybody that they know?
The person we were looking at, the mugshot we were looking at, this is Michael McKee, Monique's first ex-husband, who was divorced from her in 2017.
Okay, I'm really confused now.
Talk
makes
us
no
through
sense.
it.
That
Talk
makes
us
no
through
sense. They weren't married that long.
Correct.
They weren't, like, all of the assets and stuff and debt and everything from the divorce didn't seem to be like there was any kind of issues. No children. I'm just really confused. Like, why somebody would do
Winnebago
that.
County, Illinois.
Yeah, that's the other thing. He's in Illinois.
How far away is that from Columbus?
I would say at least 6-8 hours, maybe.
We've got a way to go. This is what we know. All those doorbell cameras, although we haven't seen the footage, they, being police, have a car that is linked to Michael McKee that is in the vicinity of the crime scene right before and right after the killings. So I pulled up the probable cause affidavit, but while I was doing that, Dee mentioned that he isn't as good looking as Monique's husband, Spencer. She thought he was a little unfortunate looking, and if he did this, his inside showed that as well. But, yeah. So probable cause. In the law, that is a low burden. It's basically, do you have evidence that a crime could have happened? So, probable cause affidavit. So the officer says that they have personal knowledge of the facts listed in the statement because they were involved in the investigation. And here is a summary of the facts that they're saying give probable cause to arrest Michael McKee. On December 30th, 2025, at 9:57 a.m., Columbus Police Patrol officers were dispatched to 1411 North 4th Street on a check of the well-being of a Dr. Spencer Tepe, who had not shown up to work. Officers arrived and found Dr. Tepe and his wife, Monique Tepe, deceased inside, suffering from gunshot wounds. 2 minor children were found inside the home unharmed. Columbus Higher Medic number 7 responded and pronounced both victims deceased at 10:11 a.m. Columbus Police Homicide Unit Team 2 was advised, responded, and initiated an investigation. During the subsequent investigation, detectives were able to identify a suspect through neighborhood video surveillance. The suspect was tracked to a vehicle which arrived just prior to the homicides and left shortly after the homicides. So this suspect was tracked to a vehicle which arrived just prior to the homicides and left shortly after the homicides. Tracked to a vehicle. Detectives were able to identify the vehicle further and limit it to Michael McKee. Detectives located the vehicle in Rockford, Illinois, and found evidence of McKee in possession of the vehicle prior to and after the homicides. Does this remind you of anything?
Yeah, it reminds me of the Kohberger case.
Right. We see the white vehicle coming
circling the apartment
to the scene and leaving the scene.
The only difference with that case is they didn't use any terms that said that they were able to link him going to the vehicle, which is what I'm assuming in what you just read means that somewhere in the videos, they were able to take the person and put them in the vehicle.
Well, they found evidence that he was in possession of the vehicle before and after the homicide.
No, I mean before that.
And they were able to link him to the vehicle. So in the Kohberger case, we talked about this. The vehicle that you see coming near the house and then speeding off from the house, you can't see a license plate. It's very clear. It's pretty blurry. If you watch the Dateline video of the Kohberger case, they had actually shown another vehicle that they said was the white Elantra near King Road shortly before it arrived and started making its rounds around the King Road residence. But we saw from that video that there was a front Idaho license plate, which on that first one, that was more clearly a white vehicle. So that would not have been Kohberger's car, the one that was nearby that they were saying was suspect vehicle 1 in the Kohberger case. And I thought they were using that to prove which car they saw kind of blurry and circling the King Road house. So they were also able to show the ownership of Kohberger to a white Hyundai Elantra. Now, in this case, they say they tracked him to a vehicle. It makes me wonder if this was like a rental vehicle and not a vehicle that he owned. That they saw the vehicle
because it was in his possession before and after.
Correct. Where he signed it in, signed it out, clear license plate. Maybe they do have clearer footage here and they were able to find where that car was rented from and who rented it. Also, there's toll roads. So when you go through the toll roads, they read the license plates. I know this because we don't have toll roads in South Carolina, but we started getting a lot of toll notices. Apparently, the DMV here issued our license plate to somebody else, like duplicate license plate, and that person decided to run all up and down the East Coast in a white truck without paying tolls. And we are getting pictures of this truck with our license plate number. And we're like, this is nice. And then we went to the DMV here and got another license plate, and an officer pulled us over. He's like, this isn't to your car, they issued us another duplicate.
Right.
So that's where we are with South Carolina license plates.
Do they mention the tolls too? Because I don't remember tolls north of Columbus or anything. But there are toll roads, like once you get into West Virginia through Virginia, there's toll roads going south. So I don't know if there's toll roads that direction.
And I'm just thinking of ways that they could track a vehicle. So that could be one through toll. Another way could just be we saw the license plate. It was
a rental company.
Rented by this person and then not rented by this person.
Yeah. And I mean, what's the odds that a rental car is going to be in that neighborhood that he's driving linked to someone who has just died?
Well, that's a good question. So let's talk motive.
Yeah, what in the world could it be? Do they have any... Have they been saying anything what they think might be the motive?
No. So what we're hearing is, where's the motive? This was a short marriage. They were married in 2015, divorced in 2017. It was done because of incompatibility. They agreed on assets and everything. There were no accusations of adultery or abuse or anything like that in the divorce. What we know about the divorce is one attorney was used. It looks like Monique hired the attorney. She was the plaintiff. She filed for divorce and they filed it, and a month later it was granted. It was granted by a private judge. I don't know what a private judge is.
I don't either. That seemed really fast.
We don't have those around here. I don't really know how that works here. We have judges. Our judges aren't even elected in South Carolina. They're appointed. But it's got to be somebody that has at least been given the authority to issue these orders. So I'm not really sure what that is. I've heard that it's just to kind of keep things under wraps, maybe move stuff along faster, maybe so you don't have to wait. Like here, even once you have filed with grounds for divorce, you might wait 3 months before you get a hearing. So maybe it's something like that.
Yeah, you're not going to get a divorce in a month here.
No. But one thing I keep hearing is incompatibility. Like that was the grounds. And sometimes I'm hearing reporters go, ooh, like that's a key that they're incompatible. Y'all, no. That is the ground for divorce. I looked up, and I'm not an Ohio attorney. I'm a South Carolina attorney. But in order to file for divorce, you have to have grounds. Like you've probably heard, some states have irreconcilable differences. Not all states have that. For example, here in South Carolina, we don't have that. We have, the way I remembered it for the bar, HOPAD, habitual drunkenness, 1 year separate and apart, physical abuse, adultery, and desertion. The only way in South Carolina that you can get a no-fault divorce would be for 1 year separate and apart. So I looked up the grounds for divorce in Ohio, and it says incompatibility, adultery, extreme cruelty, habitual drunkenness, gross neglect of duty, fraudulent contract, willful absence for 1 year, imprisonment, or bigamy, being married to someone else. And the only no-fault ground is incompatibility, and it requires typically that spouses live separate and apart for 1 year. So why was incompatibility alleged? Because this was the simple way to do it. And it required them to be separate and apart for a year. So even though the divorce took place, you see it filed in 2017 and granted a month later, they had been separated since at least 2016. They would have been separated for a year, and this is the no-fault ground. You don't have to prove fault. You just have to prove, at least that you've been separate and apart for 1 year.
Whenever I hear incompatibility, it doesn't register as something odd to me. It just makes me think that's probably the easiest way to go without pointing fingers at each other and saying nasty things and dragging it out into this really bad situation. You just say, we're incompatible, and go get a divorce.
And I'm hearing so many people comment, oh, she said they were incompatible. No, this was the grounds for divorce that was alleged. this was the one that was chosen. This is the
Mhm.
only no fault ground. And yes, this seems to be very fast. You file in 2017 once you've been separate for a year and you get the divorce a month later. But in order to accomplish that ground, they were living separate and apart for a year. And we know that. So he was living in a different state and the divorce was in Ohio in Franklin County. So is this some clue into motive? No,
I don't
it's just
think
a
so.
clue that this is a no fault divorce in Ohio. It was a short marriage. Now, but the incompatibility, it doesn't say anything about their marriage. It's just
The
Monique
easiest.
going to the court and saying, I'm going to prove this incompatibility so you can grant me the divorce. You
Mhm.
can't just go in and get a divorce for any reason. It has to be one of these grounds for Ohio. The incompatibility, adultery, extreme cruelty, habitual drunkenness, gross neglect of duty, fraudulent contract, willful absence for a year. So we were saying how incompatibility would require the 1 year separate and apart. This is like desertion in South Carolina. Desertion is a fault ground,
Mhm.
but it's where it's not consensual that you've been separate and apart for 1 year. You've been deserted, imprisonment, or bigamy. So you have to prove one of those grounds to get a divorce. This is not like, oh, they were incompatible. What does that mean? It just means she went after a no-fault divorce. They got one attorney. It was a short marriage. It was the cheap way out. But it doesn't seem like she was really fighting him on much either. She did say that she paid for $2,500 for her engagement ring, $3,000 toward her wedding ring. Other than that, she gave him the house. She agreed to pay some debt. It may mean that she didn't want to fight anything. She just was willing
Wanted
to
out.
walk.
Yeah, she just wanted out.
It doesn't matter what I'm giving up. I just want to walk away. But then again, that short of a marriage, what have you accumulated during that marriage?
Right.
You're giving up. And I don't know about Ohio, but in order to get alimony in South Carolina, it's typically not granted on a super short marriage.
I don't think it is up there either.
You have to show that this person has supported you and your lifestyle, and there's like 20 different grounds that are considered. So just because you get married and divorce, after a year, you've got your separation, doesn't mean she's walking away from alimony or that she would have been entitled to it. In fact, from what I've heard at the time the divorce is filed, looking at the financial affidavits, he was making like 40 grand a year and she was making about 35. And he was a resident. So I know one of the things that we look at are the difference in incomes. So yeah, there's probably nothing to fight over. They use one attorney. They just sign it.
Right.
Apparently he didn't want the divorce, but I don't know how much he was pushing back on it. They had to be separate and apart for a year to get the 1 year grounds in Ohio. So if you're hearing reports that, oh, he pushed back for a year or something like that, well, at least 1 year of that time was so they had grounds to go and file the complaint for divorce.
Right.
Just the legal process. All right. No children. Apparently, there was an entry on the divorce docket this year, though. It was around August, and the case status was still closed, but the entry said continuance and then was stricken. What are your thoughts on that?
What year was it?
This year, 2020. We're in 2026.
Continuance and then stricken? Is that what you said?
In a closed case.
That's kind of weird. I'm not really sure what would...
What's your gut feeling? Paralegal D.
Oh, gosh.
Any gut feelings? I had a gut feeling.
I don't know, unless maybe she was having some kind of issues with him and she was going to have something added to the divorce.
I think I think it was just an error. I think somebody plugged in the wrong case number.
Oh, I was thinking
because it was a closed case.
Right. I mean, I don't know why it would be
reopen a case in order to file something.
Yeah,
and then it was stricken.
I don't know why it would have been relevant to put it on the divorce papers if she was saying wanting a restraining order or something.
Well,
I would think
it's
she would
also
just go
like
get
a
a restraining order.
continuance of what? Continuance usually means a continuance of a hearing or a deadline.
Maybe it had
that's
something to do with
already
the house.
existing.
Maybe it had something to do with the house that he
But
got.
it was a closed case, and the divorce was 8 years ago. Again,
Yeah.
if a case is closed, you have to move to reopen. So
Right.
before you can even file anything. So to me, this seems like an error. But on what you were saying, before I had all the details and knew that it was on a closed docket, I was thinking maybe it does have something to do with the house. If she quit claimed it, maybe
didn't.
he didn't refinance it, which we see a lot. A divorce order will say that, husband has to pay the mortgage payments and wife will sign her interest over and husband will refinance it. Well, it took 2 incomes to get that house. So sometimes refinancing it in just one name, it just isn't feasible. We do some bankruptcy work. So for us, we're like, okay, this seems pretty straightforward. I mean, I would want my client to see if they could go to try to refinance it before I went and put that in an order, but we see it happen.
Right.
I was thinking maybe something like that, maybe something like bankruptcy. Maybe someone filed bankruptcy and they were trying to put a notice on the docket that you can't try to collect from this person. But yeah, I think it was just an error.
Yeah.
Now, Michael McKee was pro se in this case. Did he get some sort of notification about this filing? And all of a sudden that sucks him back into what is she up to?
It's a possibility. I mean, they're a few states apart now, so I wouldn't think it would be that big a deal, honestly, but you just never know with people. And if he didn't want the divorce, maybe he had a little bit of an obsession with her or something. And she came back on his radar with that.
Now, despite the crazy earlier report I heard about him being remarried, which now has appeared to be wiped from the internet and I can't find anything about, there's no evidence that he ever started dating anybody after this. I've heard people say that they've looked at dating apps, social media. They're not finding any traces of anything.
He may just be too busy. You said he was a resident when they got divorced.
There's that part too. I mean, I didn't get married until I was 34 because I was building my law practice.
Right. So far, I can't think of what motive
and they don't
it
have
could
to
be.
prove motive. Now, we have heard from Monique's brother-in-law that she said the relationship with her ex was emotionally abusive and that he was a monster and it affected her to this day. During the police press conference yesterday, they said that this was related to domestic violence. I'm curious. I mean, we know that the police and investigators have things that they're not sharing with us, and they shouldn't. To be fair, they should not share this with us. And while I've been so invested in this case and have wanted to talk about it, I wanted to find the right timing for it because so much is going to be speculation. And if the police are doing a good job, we aren't going to know things unless and until we get to a trial.
Right.
If too much is shared, you even open up arguments for this person's ability to have a fair trial. So you want to be cautious about what is being shared with the public. And there's a balance there. Under the Constitution, the right to the press and the right to a fair trial, those have to be balanced. And a lot of times you're going to tip more in favor of the right to a fair trial when it comes down to it. So what do they have that links him? And again, they don't have to prove motive. Could there be cameras inside the house? Maybe. We know that house had a Ring doorbell. Let's go back to questions I would have. How did he get into the house without forced entry? Husband that lives in Illinois from 8 years ago.
I was going to say almost 10 years.
How do you get into the house without forced entry?
I don't know.
For a house that was bought in 2020. Now, maybe they used her birthday or the year she was born or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's plausible that he could have guessed the passcode.
Maybe it's something she always used. But if she was afraid of him, you would think they would try to make it a little bit
that's what
harder.
I was wondering. I wonder if he really didn't know where she was, and the court case that opened back up accidentally or whatever in August released an address where he was like, oh, now I know where she is. I would be curious to know if she had like a social media presence or if she was somebody that kind of...
Apparently, she wasn't on a lot of social media.
Yeah, that would make me think, I mean, not necessarily, but it would make me think that she didn't want people to really be able to locate her very easy.
Here's another question. What if there is somebody, I mean, this was clearly planned, that had a clear motive, not clear to us at the moment, but they knew she had an ex-husband, so let's frame him and go rent a car and sign it as him. Like, what does that footage look like? Do we get his face on camera renting the car, or do we just see a figure signing something?
Yeah, I'm going to say if his face is on camera, that's not going to be a good...
Not going to be great at all.
That's not going to be easy to prove otherwise.
I'm guessing he doesn't have an alibi for what would at least be 14 hours, 7 hours there, 7 hours back.
If he did give them one, I would think that they checked it
Would
out
have already
for sure
checked it.
before he was arrested. Yeah.
But that's 14 hours of unaccounted for time. Apparently, he went right back to work and was doing surgeries. He also, as a vascular surgeon, I believe he worked at a children's hospital, which I've heard all evidence of that has now been wiped from the internet. They are not associating, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But that would explain the concern for the children. But, what if somebody is trying to frame him? They're like, well, they're going to look at the ex. I mean, we won't know. We will not know until we have evidence. Well, that may not be until trial, and there might be a plea at some point. We might not ever see it. But
I'm going to say that if they definitely have him on camera and know that they have the right person, I'm going to go with the domestic violence angle.
8 years later.
I'm going to say he didn't know where she was. I'm thinking that makes the most sense. When the case was opened accidentally in August, I'm thinking it may have had her address or something on it.
But she filed for the divorce in Ohio, and she's still in Columbus.
Were they in Ohio when they were married?
She was when she filed for the divorce. I believe it was in Franklin County. And you and I know how easy it is to pull up somebody's address.
But you would be surprised at how hard it is for other people to find that kind of stuff that don't work in our area. Because I'll have my friends, I'm like, well, you can just go find this information here, here, and here. And they're like, really? And I was like, yeah.
All right. Well, think about other things that we've covered where we have pulled background reports.
Mm-hmm.
He could search his own name and find her.
I don't know.
As his ex-wife.
It doesn't make any sense. It's just really bizarre. But if it is a domestic situation like the domestic violence, something triggered him, I think. Maybe he heard that she said something about him after all of these years or...
But from Illinois?
I know. I'm just saying,
I just think it's interesting, the wording that he was traced to a car and linked to possession of it before and after. What is that proof? Is it somebody signing in and out? Do we see the suspect's face? Is it a car that he owns?
Yeah, if they can definitely put him on that street, that makes the most sense to me.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we know that there's evidence that they have that we don't know. But I think what everybody wants to know is, what is the motive? And is there ever really a motive for doing this?
No, but in their minds, they seem to have their own motives. And sometimes there's none. They're just crazy.
And not in a way that gets them off for the insanity defense. But
it just makes no sense to logical people.
Correct. All right. Another interesting tidbit. So Michael McKee, he was actually adopted. And at some point, he cut off a relationship with his parents that adopted him and didn't consider them his parents. From what I've heard, again, I don't know, I've been consuming everything. So wherever it was, he wasn't even named in his mother's obituary, his adopted mother, who he doesn't consider his mother, which makes me wonder, not a psychologist, but is there some sort of attachment issues?
Well, are we sure that he's the one that cut himself off from his adoptive parents, or could they have been the ones that did it?
Good question. I heard that it was him. But I mean, apparently he was always like a smart kid, went to Catholic school growing up, played varsity football, went to Ohio State. All three of them were Buckeyes. I know you're a big Buckeyes fan.
Go Bucks.
Yeah, my ex, actually Michael M., the same first name and last initial as the suspect, but not the suspect. Also from Columbus and Buckeye. He used to work with the two of us. Anyway, oh my gosh, sidetrack.
We were talking about the adoptive parents.
But it's kind of like that long ago. That's how is there still... I think that is the
I don't know, but
fascinating part here is...
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying.
Why?
I see what you're saying, but we also know that, you know, there's people that turn into stalkers that get obsessed with people and stuff like that. So I don't know.
There's people who get mad and hold grudges and don't talk to their brother for 20 years. So
this just seems a little extreme. Like I just feel like something set the ball rolling after so many years.
I don't know how much more news we're going to get out of this because to me, as crazy as the 911 call is, as crazy as it is that the police officer showing up to the wrong house, the fact that they are keeping things under seal is actually a sign that they are doing a good job with the investigation. He did have an arraignment. The arraignment, he waived the arraignment, so they will be processing him from Illinois to Ohio. So what an arraignment is, it's just a hearing as to like whether they arrested the right person. So these people in Ohio, they think you did something bad. And if he was going to challenge the arraignment, it might be like, okay, this is Michael McKee, but it's not me. It's another one. You picked the wrong one with the same name. Like that guy was born in 62. It's not me. Something like that. He's just waiving the hearing to go ahead and start the adjudication process in Ohio. He had a public defender appear for him at that hearing. We've seen pictures of his apartment. It's beautiful. I think it's on the Great Lakes, and it looks like the clearest blue water from his view, which is kind of crazy. I remember my ex saying that the Great Lakes was like Ohio's ocean, which, being a girl that's now in Charleston, South Carolina, the Great Lakes isn't an ocean.
Aren't they saltwater? I think they're saltwater lakes. I think that's probably why he said it. I think they are. I'm not sure. It's been a while. I mean, I've been in the South since 1992.
Landlocked, and that was the closest thing he had.
Well, yeah,
you got to go for what you got.
There's that too.
All right, final thoughts on this. D, questions for me?
No, I'm just interested to see if if it's going to be something that we get a documentary out of or something like that, where we can find out like all the nitty gritty personal stuff.
If there's any big updates, I'll get on here and do a short and let people know what's up. In the meantime, it's just going to be people speculating about motives, speculating about what evidence there might be. Like I said, if this is a good investigation, we're not going to see a lot of updates right now.
Yeah, I think it's only natural people want to speculate about motives. Everybody, I mean, we want to know why somebody does something. Even if there's not necessarily an answer, we still want to know.
And it just seems so far-fetched, too.
And it's bizarre.
You drive 7 hours.
It's bizarre.
You're a vascular surgeon. You kill 2 people in their sleep. you have the code to get it. Now, I did see someone who looked to see, I think this was again Truth and Transparency, what kind of doorbell they had on their house, and like Googled how to break into it. And apparently there's an app that might do it. But the system that they had, she said, even like if a window is open, it will tell you downstairs window open, front door open. And there's a way that can maybe trigger that so that it doesn't say that. But then again, he would have to know what system they had, which means at some point he would need to have been there. I think I heard somewhere too that Michael McKee maybe had family nearby. I don't know. It's still a huge mystery.
Yeah.
People don't expect for it to be solved anytime soon, or for us to get a bunch of big breaks or updates, because despite what we've seen, the best thing that we're seeing is that they are keeping it under wraps. I was, during the Koberger trial, one of the grounds that they were arguing to continue it on was the fact that that dateline was released. Again, we were looking at that right to a fair trial. So if we want a fair trial and we want justice, not knowing at this point is a good thing, in my opinion. All right, channel surfers. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll post this, maybe we won't. But Dee, you're caught up to speed on what I have been rambling about for a few weeks.
Yes.
And there's a lot of fun true crime stuff that's out there right now. But
well, this was very interesting.
And it's from Ohio.
Yeah, because it's just so bizarre. It's just so bizarre.
It's bizarre. Absolutely. And it's sad. And I think so many of us can relate, mothers of children, people that have bad ex relationships. Maybe there's some of you that are like, no, my ex from 10 years ago would still be this crazy. I'm just thankful. I don't think any of mine would be.
No comment.
All right, channel surfers. Well, if you guys have any questions for me as an attorney, let me know, comment below, and we'll see you tomorrow with the traders. Bye.
Let's ride.